Hello, Lisa Broyles here with Way 2 Health MD, and this is a continuation of my vaccine series, Vaccines for Adults ages 65 plus. So there are multiple vaccines that are recommended when you hit age 65. Of course, an annual flu booster, COVID booster. I am going to spend some time in a future video going over the COVID vaccine and mRNA vaccines in general. So I'm going to focus this video on some of the other vaccines recommended for age 65 and older, which includes the Tdap, which is a booster for tetanus, and diphtheria and pertussis that go along with it. I discussed this vaccine earlier in the series. This is a killed vaccine that as an adult is recommended every 10 years to prevent mainly tetanus. Okay, so the Tdap. The next one is something called the pneumococcal vaccine. There's been multiple pneumococcal vaccines developed over the years. These are vaccines against strep pneumonia. This is a bacteria that can cause deadly pneumonia, meningitis, and serious bacterial infections. Problem with the pneumococcal vaccines is honestly they don't work that great and their efficacy wanes over time. So if you're in that 65-year-old to 74-year-old population and you're pretty healthy, the vaccine is going to work against pneumonia about 65% of the time. However, this immunity wanes by about after 2 years, you've got about a 46% immunity. After 5 years, only about 23%. And then for your older adults, the efficacy drops even below that. So there are some new vaccines in the works against strep pneumonia. And so I would say for the pneumococcal vaccines, of which there's the PCV23 or the pneumococcal 13, these vaccines I would recommend if you have a loved one in a nursing home, if you have asthma or COPD or emphysema, if you have cancer, if you're immunocompromised. These vaccines are a good idea because you already have an increased risk of becoming extremely sick with pneumonia. However, if you are a healthy age 65 and older adult, the immunity from these vaccines really isn't all that. So I don't think that these are absolutely necessary. The next vaccine is the Shingrix, which is the vaccine available in the United States against herpes zoster, which causes chickenpox. So if you ever had chickenpox as a kid, I know I did, most of us are my age did and older, you really don't want to get shingles, which is a reactivation of that chickenpox virus. The herpes zoster and varicella viruses are in the same family. Okay, so when you've had chickenpox when you were a kid, the virus never completely leaves your body, but it hides in the neurons in the brain. And when you get older and you get sick or you get stressed, then you can have a breakout of shingles, okay, which is chickenpox essentially in a stripe of skin that is innervated by the nerve where that virus resides. So I personally have had shingles and a stripe on my belly. It feels absolutely terrible the first time you get it. It feels like a match being lit under your skin. Subsequent times have not been so bad for me, but unfortunately for me, this vaccine is only recommended for people ages 65 and older. So it is a 2 vaccine series. One is given and then 6 months later the second, and it is highly effective in preventing older adults from getting shingles. So if you have had chickenpox as a kid, Shingrix is a good idea. It is not a live vaccine. It is not an mRNA vaccine. It is also a glycoprotein vaccine similar to that Gardasil that I spoke of in the earlier video. So the shingles vaccine does provide both short and long-term immunity, meaning that it's a pretty good vaccine. Other vaccines available for older adults are the COVID and flu, which will go into COVID in the further vaccine on mRNA. Thank you.